All right, Libra, thanks for tuning in to your December of 2014 horoscope. My name is Athen. Okay, so the emphasis this month is on your guys' third house, which has to do with thoughts and communications. Also has to do with sales and exchanges. And it's a very social sign, or house rather. It's the house of Mercury. It's ruled by Mercury, so it rules a lot of interchanges. It also rules siblings too. That's all the mundane kind of stuff. What I want to focus on today is the more general, perhaps foundational aspect of the third house, which essentially has to do with your ability to create your reality through your thought processes and paying attention to what you're putting out there into the universe, paying attention to what you're thinking. Because you've had Pluto transiting this part of your chart for a long time now, and there's a lot of activity involving Pluto this month. We've got a square with Uranus, and we've got all the fast-moving planets all going over Pluto at the same time. So strong emphasis on that, so that's where the main focus is going to be. Now, to kind of build this up, let's talk about how it's going to unfold, the sort of way it's going to happen, I believe. First, we have Venus going into your third house, which is on the 5th of the month. So at the very beginning of the month, I think there's going to be a wanting to, exchange, essentially, and communicate, and perhaps learn more. This is the house of learning and teaching as well. So really exchanging, perhaps with others, but perhaps, with yourself, just learning. And really, I think, in that sense, enjoying how you are communicating, enjoying the communicative process, in essence. And that's going to set the stage, and Venus is still leading the way here, so there's a lot of this enjoyment factor that's really involved with all of this. Then Mercury goes in on the 13th, and then that's when, your exchanges become a lot more clear. I think you might have a very strong concept of how you're communicating, how you're thinking, and that sort of thing. And then the Sun goes in there on the 15th, and that's a very pivotal point, actually. It's on the 15th, that's when we have the square with Uranus. So let's talk a little bit more about that. Uranus has been transiting your guys' 6th house, which has to do with routine, work, day-to-day activities, and health. And he's been sort of helping you be free in those areas, seeing the enjoyment of the importance of freedom in the day-to-day sphere of things. When you're working on the day-to-day level, realizing how when your schedule is nice and organized, you have more freedom. Also realizing that when you're taking care of your health and sleeping enough, there's a tremendous amount of freedom there. And there's this liberating feeling now with this square, which can create a sort of tenseness if we're not the willing participant in the transformation process, because this is the second to last square between these two planets. We've had this square for the past 2 years, but now it's coming up to the last of the last. This is the last phase of it between December and March. And so I feel with this, especially Venus leading the way, is that we're wanting to finally just do whatever it is we got to do to restructure our lives. And for you, it's restructuring your day-to-day activities, your health, etc., and also the way you're thinking and communicating, okay, and what you're learning. So that's where the real tenseness is, but like I said, it does not have to be that way. You can take charge, you can take the initiative, want the change in your life, and then it'll be very smooth, actually, and then it'll actually be very beneficial, because what it's doing is it's getting rid of a lot of old thinking patterns, a lot of old ways of communicating, and realizing the tremendous power that lies in your thoughts and your communications, okay? And for example, this can be like in relationships. Sometimes we say things and we didn't realize how powerful our words actually were, and may, cause disharmony in our lives or in our relationships. But when you step into that power and you realize you have the power of word and how powerful it actually is, then you have that state of presence, then you can utilize it, then that power becomes very constructive. Then it's coming from the heart, and then that power can be used in a compassionate sort of way. So being the active participant, really I think you guys focusing this month on that in your third house will really be beneficial. And like I said, be willing to get rid of any old modes, whether it's in the day-to-day or with the thoughts and communications. And if you're doing that, then this is all creating positive changes for the future. So I recommend between December and March really being proactive in that sense and being the willing participant to do that. Now, in terms of the 15th, now when the Sun goes in there, I think that's when things are really going to be illuminated. I think that's when things are really going to be obvious, and that might be when you guys actually decide you want to start, making that effort and constructive work towards that. And there's a lot of joy and happiness that can come from that this month, from the 15th through January, first half of January, when the Sun's in that third house. And so seeing the immense joy and fun you can have through learning, through sharing ideas, through the communicating, and even with your thoughts too, how you're thinking, how you're manifesting your reality through that. So see that, see the immense energy, it's life force, see the life force energy behind that for you guys this month. I think you'll find that very, very enjoyable. Now, while this is happening, we've also got beautiful sextiles between Chiron and Neptune up to that third house as these fast-moving planets now start to go over Pluto. They'll start to go over Pluto on the 20th. Okay, starting with Venus, then Mercury, then the Sun. So from the 20th onward, this is when things become a little bit more mundane in this sense. What I mean by that is it's more physical. It's more in your reality. Whereas from before the 20th, maybe up until the 15th, it's more conscious. It's just more kind of personal to do with just you. And then once these fast-moving planets start to affect Pluto, you'll start to notice it's actually happening in relationships. It's happening at work. It's happening, through home or whatever. So this is when things start to really rev up. So if you use the first part of the month to really use the personal time to really concentrate on those things, then when it starts to become mundane, personal on the day-to-day level, then you'll notice, then you'll be much more aware, and you'll be able to have much more control, and then those interactions can be very beneficial. So in a nutshell, what's going to, I feel, unfold later on in the month with this contact with Pluto is you guys changing, wanting the change, okay, welcoming change into your life. And it's a change of consciousness, like I said, it's a change of relationships too, especially around the 20th. There's going to be some changes to you guys personally, and it's going to create changes in your relationships. So be open and understand that changes is a positive thing in life, and also changes to your creativity as well, your ability to create and manifest. Okay, but it's being open to change in a nutshell. It's what's going to allow all of this energy to really give the most beneficial use of this. And you're going to find it when you do that, it's very healing and very spiritual at the same time. And that's where these sextiles with Chiron and Neptune come in. So go deep if you need to. Go deep, go raw, go truthful, and be real. And then through that, you're going to notice it's very healing. Okay, very healing and also very spiritual. And there's a sense of presence with this month. Normally with Pluto, it can be kind of very powerful, and we've already had Mars go through there, so the power has died down in that sense. But also with this aspect with Neptune, it's showing that there's a tremendous amount of presence and peace that can be had through this process. It doesn't have to be so transformative in the tower sense of the tarot, where it's like destructive or whatever. So have that state of presence, have that state of compassion, actually, is what Neptune's really showing, is that opening that heart chakra, and there's a tremendous amount of wisdom and awareness in the heart as well. And so when you go through it in that sense, then you'll notice there's this flow to it, and then you can sort of go with the tides and the flow and that sort of thing. So that's the main emphasis there on Pluto. And then on the 21st, Uranus is going to go station direct, so I think at the end of the month there's going to be a newfound freedom in all of this. You're going to see that through that power that you have to communicate and think, there's a tremendous amount of freedom in your daily experience in that sixth house, which is essentially you in the world, in existence. And so notice that, feel what that feels like, because Uranus is showing you how important that freedom is. And that freedom is actually your higher self. When we're most free, it's when we're most closely linked to our higher self, you see. And so that's the higher self that we're really going to be connecting to. And then once Uranus goes station direct, there's a sort of link happening between the physical and the higher in that sense. So that's a very pivotal point on the 21st. Also around that time, actually, Mars is going to be sextiling up to Uranus. So that might actually unlock a lot of energy and a lot of drive. And this energy and drive is happening in your fourth house. And that's where Mars is going to be for the whole month, actually. So anything you guys do that has to do with home, family, domestic life, your roots, your past, you have a tremendous amount of energy to put into it this month. And I highly recommend you do, because Mars is playing a sort of benefic role this month. And he's providing a sort of gateway of energy, especially if you feel like the energies are high for you personally. This is good. This is a good channel for that. It's in that area. And on a more foundational level, this has to do with your feelings. So you guys have a very strong aspect to your manifestation parts of your chart, your third and your fourth house. So there's twofold. Manifestation is the consciousness, the top three chakras, and also your feelings, which is the bottom 3 chakras. And so with activity in both of those, strong activity in both, notice how, like I said, what you're thinking, you're creating your reality, but also how you're feeling. And what's going on with the lower 3 chakras? Are you stepping into your power? Are you grounded? Are you open to your feelings? Are you flowing with them? That sort of thing. But you'll notice whatever you choose to experience emotionally and consciously inside, internally, will naturally manifest on the external reality. So if you want abundance, for example, you feel abundance with the lower chakras, and then you also consciously aligned with it, and you think about abundance, you realize the amount of abundance you have in your life, you're grateful for what you have, and then naturally then through the heart, which is where those two meet, you manifest. So pay attention to that, because it's very strongly aspected for you guys in terms of that. And if there's anything you need to do to put your foot down in terms of I don't know, domestic life or your emotions and how you feel, be assertive with how you feel this month, but just, of course, do it in a very balanced way. But like I said, Mars is well aspected this month. Now, let's talk about Jupiter. Jupiter is transiting your guys' 10th house, has been for almost a year now, and he's going retrograde on the 9th. So there's been a lot of opportunities in your guys' work sphere. So really pay attention to those opportunities, especially from the 9th onward, while Jupiter's retrograde, because Jupiter is showing you something during this time, you might say, for the next few months, is, you know, look at this abundance, look at what you are manifesting in the career sector. And this is also not just career, but anything you do in the public image, you know, the public eye. It's your connection to society, and it's your service work, okay? So whether you're doing it for career or not. But pay attention to that, and I think Jupiter, especially this month, once right around the 9th, you might get some insight in terms of how you can bring more abundance to that sector, because Jupiter does rule that area. And also how you can you know, flow on your path a little bit more too, in terms of your career, how things can unfold a little bit smoother, you might say. Now, in terms of Saturn being a very grounding principle this month, I really recommend a lot of grounding this month with this Pluto activity. And he's playing a role in your guys' 2nd house. He just recently went in there, so early in November. So over the past month or two, depending on when you're watching this, there's been this wanting, hopefully, you guys being consciously oriented to creating more structure to your value sector in your life. So this could be internal values, external values, such as resources. But at the end of the day, Saturn is showing you the immense power, or actually the immense discipline and mastery that you have over your ability to achieve, or rather receive abundance, receive your values in life. And the 2nd house lesson is really that you deserve abundance. And so Saturn is helping you step into that mastery. So really ground yourself with that this month. And on a mundane level, it could be, you know, continue to, you know, get refined with your resources, set a budget, that sort of thing. But on, you know, a deeper level, I think it's about you stepping into the power of your ability to manifest, your ability to attain your values, because you're having a much more disciplined sense of self-worth. And look to your past too, because Saturn's always showing us where we've already achieved these lessons, and you're building upon the lessons you've experienced in this way. And then through that, you're learning more and more, but you're open to it. You're wanting to learn from Saturn. All right, let's talk about the full moon this month and the new moon. We've got the full moon on the 6th happening in Taurus, which is your guys' 8th house. So some illumination there, you know, perhaps how you're transforming, how important change is, the importance of beginnings and endings and this sort of thing, which is all 8th house related. Pay attention to that around the 6th. This is always an illuminating sort of you know, energy. When we really pay attention around the full moon, a lot of insights can come to us around that. So pay attention to how you're transforming. Pay attention to the immense spiritual power behind your transformation. And yeah, and also perhaps how you're relating to others on a deep emotional level, how you're relating to yourself on a deep emotional level, which is really assisting you this month, especially because Pluto's you know, a secondary ruler of that 8th house. Now on the 21st, we have the new moon taking place in that 3rd house. So at the very end of the month, there's going to be a sense of newness with all of this transformation that's going on. And I feel like it's going to unfold a brand new perspective leading into January, a brand new path. So again, just like with the full moon, reflect around the 21st, and this is really going within, seeing the sense of freshness, because, you know, that's what it's all about. New moons, a sense of freshness, especially after all this activity over Pluto, and then how you can start to make and put into action, put into, you know, manifestation these new changes and this new you, essentially, that's transformed this month. All right, guys, so I'm going to draw a card and see where Spirit would like a little more emphasis for you. Okay, Capricorn. All right, well, this might be a reminder to stay grounded this month. Don't lose sight of the big picture. While there's a lot of transformation taking place, it's always important that we're building upon a foundation. And essentially the foundation in this sense, you know, Capricorn rules the top of the chart, can see everything, and once you can see your whole life, then all these little transformations and all these little changes become much more constructive. We can then see how it fits into the big picture and how it's unfolding and what we can do to really utilize these short-term changes in the long term. And it might just be to stay grounded. Now, Capricorn is also the ruler of your guys' fourth house, so perhaps there's some extra emphasis there, and that's where Mars is going to be this month. So perhaps really putting in the energy towards your long-term goals might be an indicator of that. Or perhaps for some of you, maybe this is an extra emphasis for you to put in some more work in terms of the home, family, past, root sector of your life, or perhaps in your emotional sector. Or perhaps this is actually a reminder to have that self-mastery with your guys' feelings, which you do have, with Capricorn ruling your fourth house. So step into that mastery of your feelings and notice how when you have that sense of control, that responsibility, the openness, but at the same time, you know, you want to let things flow, but at the same time you're realizing that it's all part of you. And when you observe it, you have that mastery over them. That is such an important part of the manifestation process. Just want to let you guys know that I'm offering a special this month. It's a 45-minute recorded reading gift you can give to a friend or family member. And of course, you guys already get 50% off my 1-hour sessions, which you can also extend, and it's a great way to look at the year ahead. All right, well, I hope you guys have a great month, and I'll see you next time. Take care.